Welcome everyone to Buffyverse Central. This is the first video I'm recording actually for the channel. We are looking at Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer, issue 2. This is written by Casey Gilly and illustrated by Joe Jarrow. The first thing I want to say, just to get out of the way, the art in this is really good. I have had issues with previous Boom Buffy titles and their art. This does not have that issue for the most part. There is a few places here and there where the faces are weird, but nothing as bad as that Boom Buffy reboot from 2019. Specifically, if you're looking at it in Trade in Volume 2, the art really starts to go downhill, so I appreciated that. I did a video on the first issue of back when it first dropped, and I will put that link down below in the description. So this picks up where issue 1 left off, and we meet Willow and Tara's daughter. That is officially confirmed here in this issue. That's an idea that seems to be popping up quite a bit. I don't know why we keep doing this. I don't know. Maybe this will sell me on the idea, but having a witch and potential slayer on the same package seems kind of like a fanficky idea to me. Like a slayer is a slayer and a witch is a witch, but maybe I'm just old fashioned. But I don't know. Just on paper, I don't like that idea. We'll see how it's executed, because to be honest, Tessely, I may have mispronounced that. That is Willow and Tara's daughter. Tara did not die in this timeline, which is continuing to be kind of an issue for me. Of this is not the TV show Buffy, and this is not the Boom reboot Buffy. So they haven't spent enough time explaining what happened to this Buffy, what from the show happened in this Buffy, and what from the from the comics has happened. You know, I feel like if you're gonna do a story like this where it's an older hero coming back, I need to have some kind of sense of continuity, especially in a case like this where there's really only two continuities: the TV show version and the Boom version. And Buffy as a character is defined by the events that happen to her. We get a little more backstory for her. You know, she hasn't talked to Willow in like 13 years. She married Angel, we find out at one point, but then he walked out. Like, what happened between her and Angel? Did he become Angelus? Did she know about Angelus? It's these questions that I can't help but ask myself, but the comic doesn't want to explain it because it's got to focus on the current plot. I would almost like to see if this book is doing well, and I don't know how well this is selling, and I'm not really sure where to find that information. So if anybody does know, feel free to leave a comment with some more information. I would like to see them maybe do a prequel to this and flesh out this version of the universe, because the thing that I really do like about this is Casey Gilly, who, like I mentioned at the beginning, is the writer, has a good voice for Buffy. This really does feel like an older, more bitter version of Buffy, and it feels like somebody who, like me, is a fan of that show and wanted to kind of give closure to that character. You know, like these are her final days. Whereas a big issue that I've had with the Boom reboot is nobody feels like the characters that I know. Which I get it's a reboot, but I still want it to feel like Buffy and Willow and Cordelia. And all the legacy characters here feel in character so far. I'm not sure about the choice with Angel, but I'm hoping that they can pay that off in a believable way. Tara and Willow because are revealed to be alive, or excuse me, are revealed to have gotten married, had a kid, but then they died and they sent their daughter off to Buffy. This is a very, stereotypical old lone wolf and cub story so far, which I love that story type, so I'm not complaining about it at all. We get, the typical story beats. Buffy doesn't really think she can take care of this kid. The kid just wants to be safe because her parents have died. We also get a little bit of world building with this issue. So the first issue kind of clarifies that there's a treaty with vampires that have made slayers illegal. So we learn a little bit more about that, and somehow the treaty has made it so that vampires don't need permission to enter places, which I'm not sure how that makes sense. I'd need a little more build backstory on that to see really like what they're talking. It's potentially interesting. I just don't like in my brain. I can't reconcile those two ideas. I mentioned, I believe earlier, that Buffy and Angel were married, and I really need fleshing out of that idea. Buffy and Angel is my favorite relationship in the Buffyverse. I'm a big fan of their dynamic, so I'd like to see what their dynamic was like in this reality, and what led them to get married and break up. Was it Angelus? Was it Angel? Was it the death of the potentials in the first issue? There's a lot of questions, and I hope that the series can answer them all satisfyingly. Um, but I don't think they're going to be able to answer all of the questions in 4 issues. I also really hope. I'm going to skip to the end of this issue for real quick to segue. I also really hope, because at the end of this issue, Spike shows up, which I figured he would. But I really hope we didn't use Buffy and Angel getting married and then him walking out as an excuse not to have Angel, but we get Spike. I know Spike is the fan favorite, but I personally have always been a bigger fan of Angel. And I would really like to see them explore that dynamic that we set up here. Whereas with Spike, now that Angel and Buffy have gotten married, or were married at one point, I don't know what Buffy and Spike's dynamic is. How much of the show happened? And it's going to be, I think, an issue with all of these volumes, or all these issues of comics, not to use words twice. But unfortunately, it's what we're stuck with. Hopefully this does well so we can get a second one. So the other big thing that we find out in this issue is that Buffy has been betrayed by the council, who are vampires. And that wasn't a huge surprise to me because I knew there was no way she was going to be able to dump Buffalo's kid with the council. Then the story would be over. But it makes you wonder again, what is the Buffy's backstory with the council? You know, but I think that is a fun idea because the council, obviously, in the original show, were not good people either. So it makes sense that even a new council would still be evil somewhat. And I like the idea that the council would become the very things they swore to destroy. That's a fun idea. So yeah, I mean, it's harder to talk in depth about each individual issue like this, but I like doing this and reading and recording these videos. So I'm gonna call it off, sign off for here for now. I appreciate you guys watching. If you liked this video, please throw it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.